Good evening and welcome to the Manteno Village Board for Monday, February 1st, 2021. Let's call the meeting to order, and if we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Boyce.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Dole. Here. Crockett.
Here.
Geske.
Here.
Phillips.
We have a quorum. Tonight, as always, we begin with the approval of the minutes. Tonight in everyone's packet, we have the minutes from our regular board meeting from January 19th, 2021. Hopefully everyone has had the opportunity to review them and see if there's any changes, additions, deletions, corrections. Is there any changes at all?
No.
If not, I would accept the motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented by the clerk.
I'll make it.
Motion by Boyce, second by Martin. Roll call.
Boyce.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Dole. Yes. Crockett.
Yes.
Geske.
Yes.
Phillips.
Motion carries. Public participation, we didn't receive anything, did we? And nobody's here? Okay. Village President's report, the only item I have is an item on the agenda is Ordinance 2023, which is an ordinance amending Title III Business Regulations, Chapter 9, Liquor, by changing Section 3-9-8 of the minors of the Municipal Code for the Village of Manteno. We discussed this at the last public safety meeting, and the owner of Chalk It Up Billiards had made a request to include billiard halls in the exemption of the liquor ordinance to allow minors to use their facility. We checked, and Chief Swinford was at that meeting. He acknowledged that the billiard halls were similar to the bowling alleys and other recreational venues that serve alcohol and allow minors. The board did have a discussion about whether or not to do that. The owner of Chalk It Up Billiards feels as though that they've lost business because the minors are not allowed there because of the alcohol restrictions, and since they are just asking that they would be treated similar to what any bowling establishment or other type of establishment that had amusements in there. So as it stands right now, minors are not allowed in there at all, and she does have people that are under 18, under 21 that want to go in there and play pool, and as it stands now, they can't legally allow them to do that. So we talked to her about it, and the chief said that he didn't see any big issues or problems with it. We advised her that we would bring this up at the next board meeting and vote on the change, and that the police would monitor it. If there's any issues or problems, then we could always revisit it back at a later time. Is there any questions or discussions? Anybody have any comments? Chief, that kind of sums up what we discussed. The police department has no issues with this, correct?
It does. We look back at years of calls, had very few issues there, and going forward, if it causes issues, we'll revisit it.
Just keep us informed if it turns out to be an issue or a problem. So this will be on the consent agenda for the later on in the meeting. The only other thing I have is obviously over the weekend we had a large snow event. It's the most snow that we've had in probably the last 5 or 6 years at any one given time. Last couple of years we had a lot of different snow events, but none of them were to this magnitude. We get a couple inches at a time, nothing where we had, I don't know, what do we have an official total, but you get 10 or 12 inches in Manteno?
Yeah, it's 11, 12 inches what we're hearing.
So the Public Works, they obviously were working and, throughout the evening, throughout the day, but it takes time when you have this much snow that covers the whole area. Obviously they have a system to go through and open up the main roads and then, work their ways into the subdivisions, and you get this much snow, there's, you got to put it somewhere, and, I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there aren't happy that, the snow plows push it back into their driveway, but, we've really never found a better way to do it. I mean, the snow has got to be pushed somewhere. We also have a lot of people that, as the streets get cleared off, then they clean out the driveway and push the snow into the driveway, or into the street, and so it's always a constant battle, and, they'll continue to work throughout the week and try to get the village cleaned up. I say, like, we always get a lot of calls, but like I said, they do it in a systematic way. Obviously, sometimes people don't like the system, but it is what it is. The Snow Ordinance is in effect, where people are supposed to, if they're parked on the street, they're supposed to be parked on even side streets, or on the even numbers on even days and odd numbers on the odd days. Hopefully that allows for the Public Works, to go through and widen out the streets and clear them out as much as possible. Also, it's pretty obvious cars that haven't been moved over the last couple of days, so as time goes on later this week, don't be surprised if the police are not, starting to go around and contact people, and if we have to issue citations to get those moved or towed, we'll do that, but we just assume if we didn't have to do that, we'd be a lot more economical for people to voluntarily comply, and where the police don't have to waste their time and resources to get the cars moved. But it is something that, if we have to in order to, clean the streets out over the course of time, we'll do that, but that's certainly not our preference to do that right away. But Jim, all your equipment's up and going, everything that was out over the weekend, you got the guys on longer shifts, and we talked earlier, you're gonna have some out at night for the next couple of nights trying to clean off parking lots, and as people, move their vehicles, try to get stuff cleaned up. I know they're calling for really cold weather this weekend, so if we have melting snow, we want to make sure we get it moved before it gets really frozen come Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, I think like some freezing rain and maybe snow on Thursday, so yeah, we're gonna try to keep it as clean as we can, so.
If there's a street that has a problem and you can't get through it for some reason or it was missed, you can call the village hall, but please keep in mind that we've got a limited number of people to do the entire community, and certain areas that have to get done first due to the sheer volume of traffic they have versus the ones that don't have as much traffic. That's all I have. Village Administrator's Report, Mr. LaRock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have one update. Last Friday, we got notice from the Census Bureau that they expect to have their final counts complete by April 30th. I think typically we usually would get those counts earlier in the year, but obviously they were affected by COVID just like every other business or entity that was trying to work through it last year. So it's not a guarantee, but that's when they hope to have everything done. So.
No indication as to where we're up or down or anything else?
No preliminary numbers or anything. So. And that's all I have.
Committee reports, Public Works and Utilities, Mr. Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no items on agenda, but I do have a meeting on the 23rd of this month at 7 a.m. Thank you.
Mr. Boyce, Parks and Recreation, Mr. Martin.
I have nothing either. Our next meeting is not, it's March 17th, which is creeping up.
Coming up before you know it.
Yeah, so, but nothing until the 17th.
Hopefully the snow piles will be smaller.
Will be gone, or yeah, I hope so.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Public Safety and Health, Mrs. Dole.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any action items on the agenda tonight either. My next public safety meeting is February 17th at 7 a.m. at the Village Boardroom. Talking a little safety tips, obviously, as the Mayor said extensively, last weekend was a true test of winter for the Manteno residents in this area, and it's not over yet. Let's make sure we check on our neighbors either by phone or just stop by to make sure everything is okay with them when they receive this kind of weather. At this time, I'd like to thank the Public Works crew for keeping the streets clean under the conditions that they had to deal with, because it's been very challenging, I'm sure. There was recently been a spike in utility calls. The latest schemes involve scammers using technology to make their phone calls appear to come from a ComEd phone number and threatening to turn off a customer service unless they make a direct payment with a prepaid cash card. Sometimes they ask victims to call back at a different phone number and provide personal information. In other attempts, scammers send emails to businesses and request that they send ComEd payments to bogus payment websites. Remember these tips to identify scams. ComEd will never come to a customer's home or business to demand a payment, ask for immediate payment with a prepaid cash card, ask for their ComEd account number or other personal information such as a driver's license number. ComEd will never call a customer to ask for their account number, ask for personal information such as their social security number or bank information, ask them to make a direct payment with a prepaid cash card. Remember, never talk to these scammers, never purchase gift cards from anyone over the phone, and any money you send to them can never be recovered. It is lost forever. The National Fire Protection Association states when the weather turns cold, it can bring a chill into our homes. Portable space heaters have become a popular way to supplement central heating or heat one room. If you plan to use portable electric space heaters, make sure to follow these tips and recommendations. Just recently, a family of 5, a mom and 4 children, died in a fire in northern suburb. Our sympathy goes out to that family. The reports are stating a space heater and no smoke alarms. Purchase a heater with the seal of a qualified testing laboratory. Keep the space heater at least 3 feet away from anything that can burn, including people. Choose a heater with a thermostat and overheat protection. Place the heater on a solid, flat surface. Make sure your heater has an auto shut-off to turn the heater off if it tips over, especially if you had pets that could knock the space heater over. Keep space heaters out of the way of foot traffic. Never block an exit. Keep children away from the space heater. Plug the heater directly into the wall unit. Never use an extension cord. Inspect for cracked or broken plugs or loose connections. Replace before using. Space heaters should be turned off and unplugged when you leave the room or go to bed. In fact, 2 in 5 deaths in space heater fires involve portable electric space heaters. Working smoke alarms are especially important during loss of power, when people may use alternate forms of heating equipment, portable generators and candles. Never use candles for emergency lighting. Many things in your home can catch fire if they are too close to a candle's flame. Use flashlights for emergency lighting and stock up on batteries. Install battery backup, smoke, carbon monoxide alarms, and test at least once a month. CO alarms are not substitutes for smoke alarms. Know the difference between the sound of a smoke alarm and your CO alarm. Once again, the only true way to know the different sounds is by testing the smoke and CO alarms once a month. Now we're going to go back to what we've talked about every year, adopt a hydrant. Heavy snowfalls make finding, accessing fire hydrants very difficult for firefighters. And during an emergency, every second counts. With that in mind, residents, businesses, owners, and local civic groups to consider helping your neighbor out to clear out a fire hydrant. When clearing a fire hydrant, snow should be removed about 3 feet away from the hydrant in all directions with a pathway cleared between the hydrant and the roadway. Please exercise cautions when shoveling because of the potential for vehicle traffic nearby. Do not stand in the street when clearing the hydrant, and be careful not to slip and fall onto the roadway. Always work in pairs of 2. Please consider helping a neighbor who is elderly or has a medical condition by shoveling out a hydrant in front of their home. This act of kindness will benefit the entire neighborhood and the fire crews showing up. Water is the principal agent used by fire crews to control and extinguish fires. Delays in locating and hooking up to a fire hydrant can seriously hamper a fire suppression operation, raising the risk of injury and possibly resulting in additional property damage. The Manteno Fire Department works hard to prevent fires, but when they do occur, there is an important resource in your neighborhood that your firefighters rely on: fire hydrants. Stay well and stay safe. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Dole. Planning and zoning, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have one item on the agenda this evening. It's ordinance 20-24, which is an ordinance amending Title 10. Subdivisions, Chapter 8, Required Improvements, Design and Technical Standards, Article 17. Storm sewers and sump pump drains, and Chapter 10, Stormwater Management. Article 3, Stormwater Runoff Management, by changing Section 10-817 and 10-10-3 of the Municipal Code for the Village of Manteno. I'm going to refer this to our village engineer for further clarification on this.
So the Illinois State Water Survey comes up with the rainfall data based upon studies and whatnot of past rainfall events and trends. They've come up with some new data called Bulletin 75. The old data was called Bulletin 70. So this new Bulletin 75 is what has been accepted as the rainfall data that's used in the calculations for drainage-related items, detention ponds and storm sewers and whatnot. And so basically what this does is it just memorializes that change from Bulletin 70 to Bulletin 75 in the ordinance.
Thank you, Jeff. Our next Planning and Zoning Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February the 23rd, 7 a.m. here in the Village Boardroom. And the Planning Commission meeting that was scheduled for February 9th has been canceled. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett. Finance, Mr. Gibbs.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a motion to authorize the village administrator to negotiate the purchase of approximately 10 acres to be sectioned out of parcel number 0302-10100-005. We are currently exploring the potential of building a new public works facility, and this is the property that we've discussed during our finance and public works meetings multiple times, and moving forward with that to see if that's a viable option. Next thing I have is payment of bills in the amount of $88,507.74, of which 0 are TIF bills. We have no bills paid or authorized between board cycle and our next finance committee meeting scheduled for February 17th at 7 a.m.
Thank you, Mr. Geske. General Government, Mr. Phillips is not here tonight. He has nothing on the consent agenda. So the items that we will be voting on the consent agenda are as follows. Under old business, we have nothing. Under new business, we have ordinance 2023, which is an ordinance amending Title III, Business Regulations, Chapter 9, Liquor, by changing Section 3-9-8, Minors of the Municipal Code for the Village of Manteno. Item number 2 is ordinance 2024, an ordinance amending Title 10, Subdivisions, Chapter 8, Required Improvements, Design and Technical Standards, Article 17, Storm Sewers and Sump Pump Drains, and Chapter 10, Stormwater Management, Article 3, Stormwater Runoff Management, by changing Section 10-8-17 and 10-10-3 of the Municipal Code for the Village of Manteno. We're authorizing a motion to authorize the village administrator to enter into negotiation to purchase approximately 10 acres to be sectioned out of parcel number 030210100005, and also to pay the motion to pay the bills in the amount of $88,507.74. None of them are being TIF bills. Is there any bills or any motions or business on the consent agenda that needs to be voted on individually? Seeing none, I would accept the motion to take a single roll call vote of the question of passage of the agenda items as read.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Crockett,
I'll second.
second by Dole. Roll call.
Crockett,
Yes.
Dole,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Geske.
Yes.
Motion carries. I accept the motion to approve by omnibus vote the ordinances, resolutions, motions, and orders contained in the consent agenda as read.
I'll
Make that
Motion by Boyce,
Second.
second by Dole. Roll call.
Boyce,
Yes.
Dole,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
Geske.
Yes.
Motion carries. Comments tonight? Do you have anything tonight, Mr. Boyce?
Just want to thank Jimmy and his crew. You guys were awesome. Good job. And what also is nice is that the residents in town, they all seem to get together. I saw everyone helping each other out. I mean, everyone, it seemed like they parked their cars in the driveways for plowing. I mean, you don't get that everywhere. I don't know, I just feel like we all came together and helped each other neighbors out. That's all I gotta say. That's all I got. Thanks.
Mr. Martin?
Same thing. Good job, Jim, and tell the fellows. Maybe we'll have lunch next week. Full day.
You just hope he doesn't have to do this every week.
Save it.
Mrs. Dole?
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it's, 11 inches in a 2-day span or a day and a half span, and as opposed to 10 inches over 2-week span. It was a lot to handle, and it's still a work in progress. So, and thank you for. I know we don't want to keep these on the weekend, but I know it would be better if they were during the week. But thanks.
Mr. Crockett?
I'm going to throw some more work in your lap, Joe. I know it's supposed to be cold the end of this week. How's it looking for the skating rink?
Yep. Tomorrow, plan is we're gonna try to get that cleared out as well. Last week, into the weekend there, it was looking as best it's looked all year long, so we'll get it cleared off, and yeah, knock on wood with the cold temperatures, and as long as people stay off it when it's, when the ice is breaking up, that makes it worse, because then we get holes, and then we got chunks of ice sitting everywhere, so that becomes a little bit of a struggle. We got a sign at the door, open, close. We try to put it on Facebook. We put it in front of the village hall, so, but yeah, this weekend should be good. Might be too cold.
You've got to shovel or get the snow off of there now, though. I mean,
Yeah.
you got 11 inches of snow sitting out there.
We got, so between, we got a Polaris with a big heavy-duty snow blower and a broom. We'll get it all cleared off, and then, yeah, get it ready for ice, so.
Zamboni's all gassed up and ready to go?
Zambonis, yeah, we ran it like
Ready for the
5 or
winter
6 times
classic.
last week.
Yeah, Jim, you sent out an email to us last week. You said the Zamboni had gone on it a couple times, and it was looking as good as it really had in a
Yeah.
long time.
So, but yeah, well, it might be too cold to go ice skating this weekend, but, you know, the ice will be ready. I don't know if anybody else will want to brave
With
it.
the Super
but-
Bowl on Sunday too,
Yeah.
I don't know that many people are gonna be outside doing much of anything, so, good deal, thanks.
Ted.
Same thing, good job, Jim, and that's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, you know, say that, you know, the weather, I mean, hey, it's, you know, February 1st, we're lucky that was the first time that we had, you know, a major snow like this in a long time. You know, the last couple of years, we've gotten through with, you know, some, you know, minor stuff. We had also talked about the lights on Main Street, that we were gonna, you know, shut them down on the end of January. I see tonight they're still on, but I'm assuming that's because all the guys were busy with the snow and didn't have time to do that, and that's fine. They certainly are beautiful, and, you know, but over the course of the next, you know, few days, or, you know, next week, as the public works guys get caught up and don't pull them off this road to be doing that. But at some point in time in the near future, the lights are gonna be getting shut down for the year. You know, and so when, you know, when people are asking, that you'll notice that, they say probably within the next week time, depending on what takes place. I saw we had a few of them that were out already, and
Yeah.
they're not worth, you know, going and trying to get those fixed right now. It's just, the holiday season is pretty much over, and now it's just the
We're
snow
ready for
season.
spring.
Yeah, ready, yeah, right. You know, be ready to put the green banners up.
There we go.
We got the green lights for St.
Yeah,
Patrick's Day.
yeah, you should leave those up.
And, you know, speaking of spring, you know, at a lot of our committee meetings, we've been discussing a lot of different projects coming up for spring. We've got the South Path project that is undergoing engineering. We've got several lighting projects that we're talking about doing for next spring. I'd like to try to continue some of our mural program, where we could find some more places to put some more murals in the, you know, in the springtime. So even though Public Works is busy now with the snow, in reality, they're busy pretty much all the time, because in the springtime, it's a whole different, you know, set of jobs. But we've got a lot of different projects coming up, and in order to get those done, you know, we've been planning on them, and in order to order equipment, like for the lighting project and some of that stuff, there's sometime a 5 and 6 month lead time on ordering some of that material. So Jim has been busy, you know, we've been talking at committee meetings, and then Jim has to go back and get some of that stuff ordered. So, you know, July 1st, when we want to put it up, it doesn't just automatically appear. It takes a lot of planning involved in that. So we do have some projects that, but some of the lights we ordered, they're 16, 18, 20 weeks out, correct?
Yep, correct.
So it's not all just plowing snow. There's a lot of planning involved in all that, too. You know, if I have nothing further, I'd accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Geske,
Second?
second by Dole, roll call.
Yeski,
Yes.
Stoll,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Crockett.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you very much for coming, Mr. Watson.